Get it? Okay, I'm done. Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kaylee and this is Get Lit with Kaylee. You're back, welcome back. And if you're new here, hi, welcome to the cult. So we talk about books. I'm going to eventually start talking more about lifestyle, recipes. I love to cook. A little community where we can all just kind of come together. So if you are here, I'm sure you saw the thumbnail. Today I'm going to be talking about the 25 books I must read during the rest of the 2024. The books on this list are going to be, by the way, I still cannot believe we're talking about 2025 already. That's insane. So the books on this list, a lot of them are books that I've been on my TBR forever. Been doing a good job, I believe, of buying books that I know I'm going to be reading in the next like month or 2 months. Like I'm not trying to be, just picking up books just to be like, okay, yeah, I might get to this eventually. Even though that's fun to do, let's be honest, I'm trying to be a little bit more, not strategic, but I'm trying to have some conviction when I buy books. I feel like, and maybe you might feel this way too, leave in the comments if you do, but I kind of feel like when I have too many options to what to read, I feel like I have to hurry up and I can't really sit and enjoy what I'm reading because I'm thinking about all the crap that I still have on my shelf. And I'm like, oh my God, this overconsumption that I think a lot of us are facing, it's just having a lot of options, not being able to enjoy what we have, such as life. So anyway, these books, a lot of them are going to be books that are maybe like backlist, but I'm telling myself I must read them. So that way, going to 2025, I kind of have a clean slate of all the books that I've been wanting to get to. A lot of them are going to be kind of like spooky or fall books, cozy, but ones that I know that like I don't want to have to take that to next year. I want to find new things to read next year. But let's go ahead and get into it. So these are in no particular order. These are just 25 books that I have been wanting to read. They've been on my TBR either physically or just they're coming out and I want to read them because a lot of these also are new release. So don't worry, there are some new releases on this list. So the first book that I have on here is not a new release, but it is The Passengers by John Mars. I don't have this one yet. And I have read the one a couple of years ago. It's actually behind me. There it goes. The one, Lily, stop. Sorry. The one was one of my favorite books that I read a couple years ago. If you like The Measure by Nikki Ehrlich, but you want more of like a thriller, fast-paced book, then the one is for you. Is kind of following these people that are in this, that are in these self-driving cars, aka like Teslas, and they get trapped in the cars, and apparently, like, I guess from inside there's some live streams going on and there's some sick twisted game. It's something like that. I want to go into as blind as possible because I want to be surprised. So that's all I know about it, but I am like, how have I not read this yet? The One by John Mars is actually right behind me. This is kind of like by the way, this is like a new little view. My other bookshelf's on the other side of the room up here, but this is actually my desk, and I've got a lot of like my favorites behind me right there. So some of my favorite thrillers, and right here, so I've got Grady Hendrix, S.A. Cosby, and The One by John Mars. So this will eventually be my John Mars area too. Okay, so the second book on the list is, y'all are going to absolutely gut me for this, but Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. How have I not read that? Anybody? How have I not read that? I read ACOTAR a couple years ago. It was okay, and again, don't come for me, but I haven't read Throne of Glass, and a lot of my friends have read it or are reading it now, and they're like, oh my God, it's so good, you have to read it. But yeah, so I actually have, you can see it, The Assassin's Blade behind me. I bought that thinking I have to start with The Assassin's Blade, but then one of my friends told me to start with Throne of Glass. So, and then go to Assassin's Blade third. Like you read the first 3 novellas, and then, anyway, if you have any suggestions for me on how I start that series, let me know in the comments. Third book I have on the list is House of Hunger by Alexis Henderson. I actually have a video coming up, a video idea this coming up month with her books, but House of Hunger is, it's a vampire story, but I haven't read anything by her yet, so I'm really excited to read more of her books. And she has a new one coming out called The Academy for Liars. I'm doing like a taste test video. Haley Hughes does that, and I love the idea. So I'm going to read both of her books, and if I like them enough, then I will purchase the third because it comes out in September. Okay, so then the fourth book, and probably my most anticipated book of the year, is So Thirsty by Rachel Harrison. She is one of my favorite authors. You can't see it, but on the very top of this shelf, I've got all my Rachel Harrison books. So Thirsty is her newest one. It is a vampire story. And if you don't know or you haven't read anything by her, about it not just being a monster story, and she's phenomenal. So anyway, this one's more about like friendship and I think like relationships. So anyway, I'm so excited about it. It comes out in September. There's an author event at a bookstore that's local to me, so I will hopefully be going and being able to meet her and grab her newest book. So the fifth book on the list is My Darkest Prayer by S.A. Cosby. He's another author that's again right behind me. I have read every single thing by S.A. Cosby so far. I read his debut novel, which is My Darkest Prayer, religious trauma, Southern Gothic noir. You know, that's what his vibe is, but I still cannot believe I haven't read his first book. So I have literally rated all the other books 4 and 5 stars. They're phenomenal. Check him out if you haven't. And also if you tag him on Instagram, he is so nice and he will usually always like respond. And then the sixth book that I have is All the Colors of the Dark by Chris Whitaker. It's another book that's behind me. That was the book of the month pick a few months ago, and I haven't read it yet because it just gives November. I don't know why. It's also really long, but it's a book that I've been wanting to read. Everyone that I've seen that has read it has said nothing but good things, so I need to get to that one sooner rather than later. And then I also have the 7th book on the list is Wild Love by Elsie Silver. I am reading right now the Gold Rush Ranch series, which is her like debut series that she had. And there's some like character overlap between Chestnut Springs and this one. To that one as well. I need to get to Wild Love and the Rose Hill series. And then the second book I believe is coming out either next month or in October. And they're both single dad tropes, so I was gonna read them one after the other, but I really don't want to do that if they're like kind of the same trope, because I don't want to get burnt out. But yeah, so I have to read Wild Love basically this year though. And then I have Lost and Lassoed, continuing on the cowboy romance journey that we're on right now. So I read the first 2 books in that series by Lila Sage this year. Loved it. If you like Chestnut Springs, you have to pick those up. They are so good. But yeah, and then the covers are super cute. But I have been so excited about Teddy's book specifically. So Teddy is the friend of the character from the first book in the series, and she's like a firecracker. If you liked Willa, I think her name was, yeah. If you liked Willa in Chestnut Springs, you'll like her. I have been so excited for her and Gus's story since like the first book. I'm like, they're getting one definitely, and here we are. So anyway, and that cover is the prettiest one. Like, I didn't know how that you could top the first 2, but anyway, that one's stunning. But yeah, that one comes out, I believe, in October, November, something like that. So I will be reading that one soon. Also, they're kind of short, so they're not like, I don't even think they're barely 300 pages. Okay, and then we have number 9, little change of pace here. This is Love Letters to a Serial Killer. I don't remember who wrote that, so I'm just gonna include it here. But that book is about a girl who is in Delulu land, and she starts writing to a serial killer, and then he gets out, and then he shows up. He's like, hey, remember me? We were talking. And then she goes, oh shit, he's here. And then I don't know, and chaos ensues. The cover is beautiful. If it's a horror book, really if it's any book, if it is a pink cover, I'm probably gonna like it. Number 10, which this one, okay, if I had the top 10 on this list, this would be in the top 5, okay? This is We Used to Live Here. Again, I forgot who wrote the book, but I'll insert here. But oh my god, I have heard amazing things about that book. It is I don't think it's haunted house. It's not a haunted house, okay? But it is, I think it's also being adapted into a movie, which good for this author. This is their debut, by the way. It's about a family who moves into a new home, and then knock, 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 we used to live here. And it's the old family, and they're creepy, and I think a child goes missing. Something happens, but apparently I've heard that it is one of the scariest books people have read. But I cannot wait for it to get dark at like 4 o'clock here because I'm in Boston and starting to read that book, and it gets all spooky. Oh my god, I cannot wait. But I tried to get it on Amazon and they're sold out. So yeah, and like, to be honest with you, on the UK edition, the paperback has kind of more of like a blue color, and I'm really feeling that cover, but that doesn't come out till next year, and I simply cannot wait that long. So anyway, so I gotta find a copy of that one. I'm hoping that when I go to like a local like indie bookstore or something, someone may have it and I can stumble upon it. That's what I'm hoping for, but we'll see. Okay, and then the next book that I have is another one that came out last year. It was actually an aardvark pick, and I didn't pick it. Ugh! And I'm kicking myself because I wanted to read it so bad. But it is the Reformatory Reeve Do, and I hope I pronounced their name correctly. But oh my gosh, apparently it is about a reformatory boys' school based on something that actually did happen. It's very, very creepy. It's very atmospheric. And it sounds just right up my alley of something I would like, but also it has like hard-hitting commentary in it. And yeah, so I love books that make me scared and make me cry. So yeah, what's wrong with me? All right, and then I have Carmilla, which is the book that Dracula, I believe, was either based on or something. But I read A Dowry of Blood this year, and oh my god, it was probably in one of my top 10 of this year for me. I loved it. And this book is loosely based off of Carmilla. So it's kind of the story of Dracula's first wife, I believe. And then the 13th book that I have on the list is In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead. Her new book comes out next year sometime, I believe, early part of next year, like Q1, okay? But yeah, that's her first book that she wrote, and I haven't read it, and I loved the past 2 books that I've read by her. So I'm like, what the heck? Although I do know that like it's gotten mixed reviews. It has like a dark academia setting, so I can't imagine why I wouldn't read that this month or next month, or actually in November. Sometime before December. But yeah, it's giving fall. The book gives fall. And then number 14th is another backlist book by a favorite author, and that is In 5 Years by Rebecca Searle, which her books are behind me. She's become kind of an auto-buy author for me. I have found for myself that I'm really enjoying speculative fiction books. So I did not like Ashley Winstead's second book, The 7-Year Slip. I didn't really enjoy that one, but I really love The Dead Romantics. I really enjoyed Rebecca Searle's writing. I think it's really easy to read. You know, I like the imagery she has in the books, and it just seems like the cover for some reason looks snowy. I don't know if it is or not, but it is in my head, so I'm probably going to be saving that for December because it's kind of giving New Year's. If you haven't realized, I am very much a mood reader, atmospheric reader, especially this time of year, like every other basic. And I mean that in a positive way. We're all a little basic here, but that's okay. And then the 15th book that I have on this list is Grimstone by my queen, Sophie Lark. She's amazing. But yeah, so Grimstone is kind of like, so she's a dark romance author, okay? But Grimstone is more of like her paranormal romance, I guess, that she's written. She has a new one coming out this year, also called Monarch. But I'm in her Facebook group, and she's not coming out with one next year that's in this interconnected standalone series. But yeah, so Monarch is taking place in the town of Grimstone, which is from this book that I'm mentioning now. But I am so excited to read it, and I didn't buy the original cover of it, But on Amazon, they do have a limited edition new cover for this book and Monarch that's coming out. They're gonna match and have sprayed edges. It's so cute. I've already pre-ordered it. I'm so excited to read that in October because it seems like a spooky haunted house book, and if it's my Queen Sophie, you know it's gonna be spicy. Okay, and we are like flying through these, guys, so very exciting stuff. But number 16, we have Ghost of Harvard by Francesca Saratella. Y'all, what the heck? How have I not read this? How have I not read this? This was in my physical TBR video that I posted, so go check that out if you haven't. But holy crap, I am obsessed with the premise of this. It's a mystery. I think it's a coming of age story as well, but it just seems so good. I just can't believe that I haven't read it. Like, what's wrong with me? I did just move to Boston this year, and I've been to Cambridge, and it's so cute. It actually kind of reminds me a little bit of Austin, Texas in a way. So Ghost of Harvard, again, it's a story about a girl whose brother unalives himself, you know, and kind of like figuring out what happened with her brother. But I've had that, I think, the longest on my TBR, so that needs to get read this year. And then I have, sticking with paranormal-esque vibes, I have The Haunting of Blackwood House by Darcy Coates. I cannot believe I just heard of Darcy Coates this year. I know, crazy. How am I someone that reads 100 books a year, and this is the first year I've heard of Darcy Coates? I know better now, and she has quite the backlist. So I'm going to be getting to a couple of her books hopefully this year. I want to read one of her YA horror books, which seem still pretty scary, and then another one of her like adult ones. But The Haunting of Blackwood House, it seems like that one is right up my alley. I think it's the first Haunting of book that she wrote, so I kind of want to go in publication order with that. She does have a couple series, so I do want to get to maybe House of Shadows also. And then I have Ninth House. So number 18, I have Ninth House. Now, that's actually on my bookshelf. Spoiler alert, because you'll see this in my August wrap up. I read The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo and did not like it. The cover was beautiful. I actually bought the book at HomeSense, of all places. I didn't know they carry books, but I guess they started carrying books recently. But anywho, I tried to pick up Ninth House like 2 years ago when it came out, and it wasn't hitting for me. I don't know what the deal was, but I was just like, why am I not vibing with this? It sounds like something I would like, and I just didn't. So I picked up The Familiar. Again, great premise. It's, you know what, we're gonna talk more about that in my wrap up. But anyways, this is like my last chance for Leigh Bardugo, okay? Because I told myself, okay, if I like The Familiar, I'm reading Ninth House. If I like Ninth House, I'm gonna pick up Shadow and Bone. So now I'm kind of like, crap, I wanted to read Shadow and Bone, but that's just like, now it's going way down on the list of fantasy series that I want to pick up. But anyways, so Ninth House is going to be my redemption for Leigh Bardugo, hopefully. But if I don't like it, I'm going to unhaul it. So that's where we are. Okay, and now one of the other books that I have on my TBR that is probably one of the, other than Ghost of Harvard, the oldest book that I currently have had, it just keeps on going, is Beneath a Scarlet Sky, and that is by Mark Sullivan. I was told to pick that one up after I read The Nightingale, but I haven't really heard anyone talk about it. But it's a World War II historical fiction, but it's actually about a boy in Italy. And I have not read any World War II historical fiction that takes place in Italy. They usually always take place in like France or Germany or something, or the United States, or I haven't read one from Italy yet. So no, here, I'm gonna get it out. This book just gives December. Like, I can't explain it. It just does. Maybe it's because it's red, I'm not sure. It also kind of looks like a Sarah J. Maas book, but it is not. If I don't read it this year, I will unhaul it, and that's a promise. So I keep my promises. All right, the the last books on the list, last 6. So number 20, we have Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I am in a fantasy mood right now, so I'm picking this book up, okay? The only thing that's been making me like, ugh, it's because Reckless came out. That's the 2nd book in the series, and everyone has been crapping on it. They're like, it's not good, like, it sucks. It's like a bridge book for the 3rd one, Fearless, that's coming out. But I do want to get to it because I heard the 1st book, and then especially the novella that's in between the 2nd book and the 1st one is really, really, really awesome. So I told myself, okay, I've got to read this book. I have to read it. I just simply have to read it. I have to see what all the hype's about. So yeah, and then the next book I'm going to talk about is more on my, I think if I had a ranking, this would be higher than Powerless. It's Heartless Hunter, and I forgot who wrote it, so just look at it here. But Heartless Hunter is about, it's an enemies to lovers. This is actually enemies to lovers. It is between a witch and a witch hunter. It's the Crimson Moth series, or maybe a duology. I'm not sure if it's going to be a trilogy or what it's going to be, but the 2nd book does come out. I don't know when it comes out. I think beginning of next year. But since it's between a witch and a witch hunter, I thought it would be apropos. It would be appropriate to read it in October, even though you don't have to read about witches just in October, okay? This 22nd book that I have is The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Lori Gilmore. That is someone's pen name, obviously. It is supposedly kind of spicy, and it just seems like cozy fall vibes. It's a little hallmarky town, and there's going to be a Christmas tree farm book released this year, and then I believe next month they're coming out the Cinnamon Spice Cafe, something like that, or Cinnamon Roll Cafe, something like that. Anyway, and then in April they're coming out with a kind of springtimey book, so in this little town. So I really want to read it. I've seen a lot of people have it on their TBRs, but no one's read it, so I guess it's gonna be something everyone reads like September, October, November, something. Then number 23, we have The Starling House. This book I had on my physical TBR last year, and then I unhauled it. Why? Because it was a book of the month copy, and I was trying to read all my book of the month books one month, and I was like, whatever I don't read this month, I'm unhauling, and that's what ended up happening. So that was a casualty, unfortunately. But at the time when I tried to pick it up, I just wasn't feeling it. And now I'm in this like fantastical mood, and I'm like, and I heard that it's a little bit darker than a lot of other books on Reese Witherspoon's list. It's a Reese Witherspoon book club book, by the way. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a try again. I got a really good deal on it on Book Outlet. So I just was like, screw it, I'm gonna read it. I want to get to that in October this year, and stay tuned for that book haul because I did buy quite a few books there online. Okay, and then second to last book that I have on my list is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. This is something that everyone, I feel like, besides me has read, and a lot of people have really enjoyed it, or they were like, it was okay. But I want to see for myself. So if I do like Yellowface, which these two are not alike at all, but if I like Yellowface, I like the writing, then I want to prioritize the Poppy War maybe next year. So even though, again, they're not the same genre at all, Yellowface is about a woman that is a author, and I believe someone that maybe works in her publishing house or something like that, who is an Asian woman, dies, and then this white woman author decides to publish her book, the one that died, that woman's work or something, and it talks about like issues in the publishing community and things like that. So I think a lot of it too will kind of span off of R.F. Kuang's actual like experience. All right, and then the last book on the list, I'm going to go ahead and grab it. That is When Women Were Dragons, and that is by Kelly Barnhill. I recently bought this from Exile in Bookland in Chicago, and I haven't really heard anyone talk about it, but I was obsessed with it when I saw it in the bookstore, and I was like, what the heck is this? I've been trying to not do that. I've been trying to only buy books that I know about, and because I just feel like I've got so many on my list. But anyway, there was a mass dragoning of 1955 when hundreds of thousands of women sprouted wings, scales, and talons and took to the skies. Was it their choice? What became of those left behind? Why did somebody transform and someone else didn't? You know, so it's kind of like they're trying to figure it out. So it kind of reminded me a little bit, I'm not gonna lie, of The Measure or The One, or those types of, well, what if kind of books, which I am obsessed with. And it being about dragons, and now that House of Dragon has ended, I'm having like an existential crisis. So I need to have dragon. I need more dragon books. So anyway. Well, that was it for the video. Thank you so much for sticking around. I hope this isn't too long, but yeah, I tried to be as quick as possible, but just to let y'all know kind of what my reading plans are for the end of the year. I guess you could say that is my end of the year TBR, but you know, I do read probably about 10 to 12 books a month, and there are 25 books on this list, so you do the math. So there's still probably 20 books that I left off of here. But again, thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you're still here, leave a dragon emoji. And yeah, thank you so much. So I'll see you in my next video. Remember to take care of yourself, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.